Chapter 10. Master Tang's wife, Maizhe, ran her gnarled finger over the character in the center of the bowl. "Was this your clever idea?" Xingxing didn't speak, for to answer would be immodest. Her cheeks went hot. Besides, she didn't want to start a conversation. She had to hurry for Wei Ping's sake. "I recognize your calligraphy, of course." Maizhe looked thoughtfully at the bowl. "It is indeed a marvelous bowl." She set it down on the fine bamboo table. "But I have little use for it myself." Xingxing pressed her lips together and looked down. "It would make the perfect gift for my daughter-in-law, however," added Maizhe after a pause. Xingxing looked up with gratitude into the smiling eyes of Maizhe. "Let's see how much I can afford for it." Maizhe went through an inner door, leaving Xingxing alone in the central room. The abundance of superb things, rosewood furniture and elaborately carved jade statuettes and lacquerware in reds and blacks and an engraved walrus tusk, made her stand very straight and tall, her arms pinned to her sides. She knew that breathing alone never broke things, but still she breathed shallowly. She would move as little as possible except for her eyes. In the cave they had good quality furniture too, though stepmother had sold anything not absolutely necessary. But even when father was alive, their belongings had been in nowhere near the abundance found in Master Tang's house. Father liked simplicity, a taste Xingxing had inherited, and Master Tang was wealthy, something the Wu family was not. Her eyes moved past the more showy items and slowly took in the line of blue and white porcelain bottles on the shelf beyond the table. They were decorated with lines that made pleasing patterns on the rounded sides and at the neck. The fronts were flat, however, and though she couldn't see the backs, she guessed that they were as well. On the fronts were ovals with words written from top to bottom. She read, "Asparagus, for the treatment of painful illnesses in the joints and lower back." The next jar said sesame, and the next poppies. Some of the bottles merely said what the cure was without the ingredients. Eye remedy, intestinal calming lotion, elixir of 8 precious ingredients for rescue from danger. One bottle had no words but a scene with pictures. On the shelf against the adjoining wall were more bottles, their flat fronts in the shape of octagons, sitting on stands with little necks that held paper and cork stoppers. These had the yin-yang symbol in the center, with a series of 3 lines going out to the sides at intervals like spokes. There were so many bottles, and they were lined up so precisely straight that Xingxing had the same sensation she felt when looking at the endless horizon of the sea in so many of Master Tang's paintings. That sensation of being as tiny as a dust mite. All the bottles on both shelves had a funny little character at the top that Xingxing had never seen before. "We bought those when we were at a state pharmacy when the big city closed," said Maizhe. She had come back without Xingxing noticing. The girl had been so absorbed in studying the bottles. "Do you have anything for pain in the feet?" asked Xingxing. Maizhe laughed. "Oh, they're not full. We know nothing about the practice of medicine, dear girl. Master Tang and I enjoy them just as objects of beauty. Here, come take a look at these." She led Xingxing to a small table in a corner that held a low, wide bowl. Xingxing immediately recognized the bowl as one her father had made. In it was a pile of something she was familiar with. Pottery shards. Their jagged edges brought back the image of Wei Ping's bone ends. She had to hurry. Maizhe held up a shard with a frog pattern on it. "This is old. I don't know how old, but hundreds and hundreds of years. Perhaps even thousands. It was found way down south in the Dongting Lake area of the Yangtze River. The artistry is crude, but it may have been sacred to the people who used it." The frog had a round back with 2 stripes down the center and dots on either side in perfect reflection. Despite the urgency of the moment, Xing Xing couldn't help but feel delight. She imagined the frog hopping at the muddy edge of the river. "It's lovely," she said. Maizé opened her hand. It was full of small coins of cast copper. She looked Xing Xing over, and then she reached into the folds of her bodice and took out a cloth purse. "Help me open this, please, for my fingers cannot work the clasp any more." Xing Xing opened the purse, and Maizé poured the coins into it. Xing Xing was embarrassed that in stepmother and her haste she forgotten to bring a purse. "I will return it quickly," she said. "I have other purses. You can keep it, and you'll need something to fill it after you've given your stepmother this money." Maizé's eyes discreetly went toward the bowl of pottery pieces, and then back to Xing Xing's face. "Pick the one that pleases you the best." Xing Xing shook her head. "I couldn't. Something so old and so fine? Never." "But that's exactly why you should have one," said Maizé, and her face spoke plainly with her sincerity. "Many people consider this junk, but you value it properly. Choose one." Xing Xing didn't dare put her hand in the bowl. She let her eyes do the searching, and there it was, a small part from the fluted mouth of what had clearly once been a large jar. It must have been a water jar, for this one piece held 2 animal images. A frog, like the one on the shard Maizé had shown her, and a beautiful carp.